What up, big bro? Let me add you in here. Yes, I see it. Nice.
Sir,
What's going on, sir?
how you been?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Likewise.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First, let me thank you for your time. I know you are a busy guy.
No, I'm
Uh,
not. That's a lie. Because we in pandemic and ain't nobody busy.
all right.
I
All
don't.
right.
If I told you I've been in the game for 30 years, am I supposed to be busy all the time? No. I'm supposed to be able to make my schedule to be as lucrative as I want. If
That
I'm really,
makes sense.
really super busy, then that means I'm still building, which I am, but not to the point where I can't set my schedule
Understood.
to be how I want it to be. So that
Understood.
I take my time to do whatever I say I commit to.
Cool. All right. Let's go ahead and dive in. I wanted to start with New Haven. I know some good brothers from New Haven. Um,
Really?
yeah, some talented guys too. Yeah.
Enlighten,
What's that?
enlighten me.
Well, I don't want to name drop on
What?
this platform or anything like that, but
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
Connecticut in general, and some cats from New Haven that are talented,
Okay.
for sure though. But I wanted to start by going into the beginnings. I've done my research and everything like that, but I like to try to ask questions that are connected to what people out there would probably want to know.
Hmm.
What was new growing up in New Haven like from a music perspective in terms of pursuing music? Was that something that you always felt like you could easily reach out and touch, or was it a little bit further away than that?
Now, New Haven is not known for music per se. The only thing that was known is that you're an hour and 45 minutes away from New York.
Okay.
So if you could find a way to make it to New York, then you can get popping. But New Haven itself didn't have anything particularly to make you to put you in a position to pop off.
Understood.
So the
Understood.
goal was always if I can get to New York. And so at 22, yeah, February 11th, 1990, I moved to New York.
Okay.
I was 12.
Congratulations on the 30 years, by the way.
Thank you.
Uh, yeah. So what was the process like? I saw that you were signed to Motown initially, as an artist, and I wanted to know what the process was like to get to that point as an artist first.
Well, actually, being anxious, as I'm telling this young man right here, being anxious, I was having problems with my ex-girlfriend. I mean, my girlfriend at the time, and I was in a group, and I was having issues with them as well. And I was anxious. I was 20, and I didn't want to be there anymore. And I had started doing meetings in New York of a rapper that I produced, a local rapper that I produced, and he had hired somebody to start doing meetings in New York. We had did a couple of records where I produced the record, he rapped, but I sang the hook. And this is before raps with hooks was being popular. I'm not saying I started it, but it was something that was starting to, people were doing. It hadn't blown up yet.
Okay.
So when we were doing these meetings, they would always ask, who's the person singing? And I would say me, but I'm the producer. I'm not the artist. So it resulted in uh, them wanting to sign an independent label wanting to sign us. So I looked at it as a way of getting out of New Haven. But it was a horrible deal. Did I say horrible? Horrible. So to the point, you're supposed to say, how horrible was it? It was so bad that I signed my publishing away.
Oh wow.
Wait, for life. And didn't know it because I was anxious. And so I hadn't didn't know I didn't know, but I was working in record stores. Being a teenager, you got to have a job and all that stuff. And nobody really wants to work. No one creative wants to work. Anybody who does songs, singing, writing, producing, nobody wants to have a 9 to 5. Nobody. I don't care what you say. People are like, you need to get a job. That's like, no, that's not even, but okay. I was a smarty kind of Alec kind of person. If I'm going to work, let me do jobs at record stores. That way I'm close to the music. I know what's going on, make some money. So, in doing so, it would put me in a position to read a lot of album credits. That was like fun for me. You know what I mean? That's a lost art now.
Yeah.
But and I would always see this name, Timmy Regisford. I tell the story all the time. I always see this name, Timmy Regisford. He was an executive at Motown, but he was also remixing and mixing people's records outside of Motown. So when I signed my deal, the horrible deal, they asked me if I knew who did I want to get to mix the single. And so I just said Timmy Regisford. I just said his name. I didn't think if they knew him or not, but they ironically knew him. Set up a meeting. And so this will be my first time being in the studio in New York and seeing how records are mixed. And this is not Pro Tools. There's no auto-tune. You couldn't tell me back then that there was going to be something that come about that will make you be able to sing better. I would have laughed at you. It's like the Jetsons. Like, really? Yeah. Whatever. However, I met Timmy and I put myself in a position to play more music for him. Long story short of all of that, we got a real good bond, and he ended up buying me off of that label and out of that horrible record situation.
Oh, yeah.
And to Motown and got my publishing back because they looked at it as, oh, shoot, yeah, sure, we'll sell them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they made some money. And so I got out of that deal. And I have to take a moment to say God did it for me because I did it without him in the first place when I first did the first. And I knew, even though I prayed, I still didn't pray and wait. I prayed and went ahead and didn't expect less. When I just made a decision, I made the decision. He didn't make the decision. And I expect him to bless my decision. It's kind of backwards. For everyone who's watching, you don't do that. If you're going to pray, you got to pray and have patience and allow God to do what he does best. Little message in there. But anyway,
no, it's all good.
He got me out of that. And I ended up starting an album on Motown as an artist. But I had so many songs that all the songs weren't going to be for me. So then Timmy would go through all my songs, and they had artists on Motown already that he felt could do the songs that I'm not doing, which is the reason why I say build the catalog. Yes, build the catalog so that, you just have so many options. And I had so many options that a few of my songs went to this group, Boys II Men, a young group, Boys II Men. I usually tell the story a little bit, but moving it further so we can talk about other things. They went on to be huge. No one knew. I was only 22 at the time, and they was 15 and 17. We didn't know. We didn't know. I didn't know Little Things was. I didn't know. I didn't know. You're supposed to be for my album. That was my song.
Oh, wow.
Heard them sing. I'm like, oh no, y'all can have it. Literally, you get them kids, and by the way, sidebar, Wanye's Sons is incredible. No, wait. You don't know about One More?
No, nah. Yeah. Enlighten me. You gotta enlighten me.
Okay. Everybody, One More. WANMON at One More. Go see them kids. Those are his sons. One sings exactly like him. But they're so dope. Really, really incredible. Anyway, so upon them coming out and blowing up really, really huge a year later, I decided to tell Timmy I didn't want to be an artist. Okay. Because I didn't want the responsibility that artists hold, and I didn't want to be put in the where if it doesn't work out for me and as an artist, I'm kind of done. Because when people see that it didn't work for you and then you try to sell songs to somebody else, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, he's cool. I don't want to sound like him. You know what I mean? Because you're an artist. And so I decided I declined, and they let me out of that deal. And, because I hadn't spent any money, I hadn't done anything yet. So, but I mean, They were real cool, and I never regretted that decision because it allowed me to do whatever. If I do 3 groups and 2 of those groups bomb, but one of those groups work, if I do 3 artists and one of those artists blows up out of the 3, I still win. But if I come out with an artist and it don't work, oops. So that was my theory.
Gotcha. Let me ask you, since we're talking about Boyz II Men, first of all, that the first and the second album easily shaped my singing life. So, you know, to know that you were a part of that and the records that you were a part of, that's really dope. I wanted to ask you, when it comes to working with groups, because you've been able to work with groups like Boyz II Men, SWV, the OJs, B2K, I want to know, how do you manage as a producer the personalities within a group? How do you get everybody to be cohesive? Because, you know, sometimes groups come into the studio or into a situation, they might have their own internal struggles, or, you know, might have things going on in terms of who is carrying what particular part of the song. How do you balance that?
Well, I was known back then for making songs so that all of them can sing. Like for 702, all 3 of them sang. And the songs I did for SWV, I made it so that all of them can sing. But the politics of it is that 70 and 3LW, I mean, not 3LW, I work with them too, but SWV, Coco's the lead. So here I am trying to be fair and trying to display all the talents, but politically, Coco's the sound. So though I made it so that everyone could have a shot, that also took me out of the singles game, because my song had all 3 of them, and Coco's the, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, any song, Missy Elliott, you know, Can We, you let Coco sing the song, you're probably gonna have a single. But if all 3 of them sing and it sounds good, but no one knows 3LW, I mean, keep saying 3LW, SWV like that, then you're probably not gonna get that song, that single. So it was a blessing and a curse at the same time, because the labels would bring me in because they knew that I can get the others to sing just as good as well. And that will please the group, because, you know, by that time the group is like, why is she singing all the songs? I can sing them. So they bring me in, I make them sound good. But then it's like, that's not where we're not known. They're not known for that. They're known for her to be the lead singer. So that's how I dealt with that. And of course, the OJs is the OJs. You know, Walter had his thing, sure, and Eddie had his thing. So I just go accordingly to the talent. And there was a song that I did with B2K where I was gonna have Jay Boog, because he had a little voice, and I was gonna have him do it, and that resulted in us being in the parking lot. They pulled me in a meeting in the parking lot, and I'm like, what's going on? Well, we just feel like, Omarion is, the sound of the group, and, we want to keep it consistent. You really? Okay. All right. I tried. Cool. If that's what it is, that's what it is. So, that's what I was known for, to be able to pull out of, anyone, to get them to sound, good, and to make them happy.
Is that always kind of a part of the game for you, or for producers in general, to know how to play the politics of a situation?
That was part of mine. Okay. I always put myself in these positions where I'll have a lot more songs on the album, and I'll make the songs and the album sound good, but everybody else will get the singles. So it was like, I'm good enough to make everyone sound good and fix other people's songs as well. But because I didn't, okay, when I say this, what I'm about to say is, this is my perception at that time. There were certain things that I didn't do that if I did, I would have gotten those positions. For example, go to strip clubs. I didn't do strip clubs. Go out, smoke, drink. I didn't do those things, but if you do those things, it's like a bond, and you get to talk in politic with people, and then you get to get that spot. You know what I mean? I was to go to the studio. If I had a chick waiting for me, work, chick, we out. I didn't do industry a lot. And I know that if I would have done that, I would have gotten a little bit more singles and a lot more, you know. But to me, that was kind of sort of selling my soul. I didn't want to do that just you know.
Wow.
So.
That's a great point, because, you know, the industry, let's say, of music is frequently associated with, you know, selling your soul or coming to that point where you have the option, at least, you know what I mean? And I think that was really good that you said that. For me personally, I'm taking my own, you know, thing away from that. I wanted to ask you how, from a production standpoint, purely, how important you look at being able to actually play a musical instrument versus you know, more or less not playing, let's just say.
Well, let's think about it for a second. Diddy didn't play anything. And Diddy was very good, and is very good. Can tell you exactly what to do without having to speak the language of music, and you'll know it, and it'll be dope. But yet he has no musical skills. So that's that producer, and then there's the ones that can play and, you know, and sing and all that. I think that there's a balance. The thing that Diddy has, to me, and just, you know, over the years, is that he has the ability to have the ear for the average consumer. Whereas the ones who sing or play are a little bit more, you know, like musically inclined. So they tend to produce you according to singers. And now here you are sounding great, but then you're alienating people who can't sing. Will you stop? Like, yeah, but drink some water. Sorry.
That's all good.
So yeah, I think for me, I think there's a thing to master, and that is to be able to produce according to the average consumer and not according to a dope singer. Because you don't want to alienate people who can't sing, because all they'll do is be like, oh, nah, that song is dope. I love that song. That's it. But if you play a song that they feel like they can sing, they're going to say, I love that song. And then they're going to try to sing. And then they may pick up something so they can sing along because it makes them feel sing. So if you bring them in, you have a hit record. Because think about the music for today. They're not even that great of singers, but then the average consumers are not either. So they feel like they can sing along with these records. They gravitate towards these records. The only problem with that is they start getting a little older as they go, and they start maturing, and their ears start shifting, and now they want to hear real sing. So it's a moment. It's a vibe, and it works for that moment. But then they grow out of it, and now they want real singers. And now we're at a point where everybody wants real music again. Everybody wants real singers again. So now we're there because that audience grew up.
Yep.
Soulja Boy audience. Soulja Boy is the grandfather, by the way, of all this. Think about it. He started the two chords, and the dance. Soulja Boy, you know, we're all doing all what Soulja Boy started, and that whole social media. He was a genius with that, and just take advantage of the whole YouTube and everything, marketing and everything. He's the grandfather, and so no changes. Remember, he had no changes. 2-finger chords, new notes, ding, ding, clink, 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 clink. That's where it all came from. So it started working for the YouTube audience and for social media. But now those kids grew up. Now they're in their 30s. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear real music. They got real lives going on here. They got issues. They got situations. They need music to help them out of situations or just to be able to use in their everyday life. That 2-finger chord, that ain't working no more. You know what I mean? That those zippity doodah type songs ain't working. So we're there now.
Wow. It's true though. So yeah. True. Okay, let's transition to artist development. I would love to hear from you about artist development, particularly because I've seen the way that you've been able to develop artists. You have a way of developing artists that is special. And I wanted to kind of talk about, wanted you to talk about that within the context of how artist development as an art form itself has kind of changed. It used to be, you know, very, very much so, I would say, there were just more places for artist development at labels, obviously, and artist development started becoming a thing that was more independent and all that type of thing. So what's your philosophy about artist development in general?
Well, I never stopped. Artist development. The record companies stopped it because they didn't want to pay the money, number one. Number two, they're letting the artists use social media as their development. So that's why it's like, yeah, you'll figure out who you are and get an audience at the same time. So let you do that, and we'll just watch. And if you stumble on something, we'll rush in. Whereas, to me, to really do this effectively, you got to mentally be ready to do it, because that kid that can play street ball, basketball, like he's dope. Like anybody goes up to him on the street and head on, one-on-one, he gonna kill him. But you take that same kid and put him in the NBA, you can't. The rules change. Mentally, it throws him off now because the rules change. He doesn't know how to carry himself because the rules change. So he's not taught how to be in the NBA, but he could play basketball though. But he's not taught how to be. So, in other words, you got a lot of people who are talented, can really sing, but everybody who sings is not a singer. So it's like, just because you sing, don't mean you're a singer. And everyone who's a singer is not an artist. And every artist is not a star. And every star is not a superstar. And every superstar is not a legend. And every legend is not an icon. So there's levels to this.
Yeah.
You're like, I sing. Okay. Are you an artist? And they do this. I mean, yeah. No, you just told me you sing. That don't mean you're an artist, because there's a whole nother art form to being an artist. How you walk into a room, how you stand. Yes, how you stand. Because in the music industry, record execs, they're like this, and they're like eyeing you up, and it's seconds. It doesn't even take long for them to determine whether you're ready or not. Just by the way you walk into a room. Literally. The way you sit down. The way you talk. If you engage in their eyes, or you look to the right or the left and you never engage, they look at as, you don't even, nigga, I could change your life and you're not even looking me in my eyes. I can't trust you with these chicks out here. Messed up. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know how to walk into a room. I can't take you nowhere. I got to teach you. Oh, man. You know what I'm saying? So and you have to mentally be ready, because mental illness is more than ever. It is real. And the creative mind is a floater mind. If you think about it, because you're a musician and you sing and you write, where are those melodies coming from that you hear in your head? Think about that. We're all mutants. We're mutants, because how are you hearing these melodies in your head? Where? You can't see them, but you hear them, and they're loud too. And you try to explain it to somebody, it's like only thing you could do is sing it or play it. But where did it come from? You have to learn how to manage that. And there's a lot of people who are talented that can hear the music, make it up in their head, and can't turn it into something. And there's a lot of people that can hear it, turn it into something, but can't perform it. There's levels.
Yeah. Woo.
This thing. So you have to be taught how to be this star that you say you want to be. And Motown, as you know, Barry Gordy, he taught everybody. They were hood. All them people were hood. Marvin was hood. David Ruffin Short was hood. All the Temptations were hood. They was from the hood. Diana Ross was hood. All of them were hood. He taught them how to have class. And when they went places, they dressed up. And you wanted to dress like them. You know what I'm saying? That's artist development. That's, you know, how to speak, how to talk, how to carry yourself. That determines how far you're going to actually go. Now, there's two worlds to this. There's that world, and then there's the YouTube world / social media. I believe there is a way to be a star on social media and YouTube, and there's a way to do it too, because everybody can't be a YouTube star. So even in that world, you still have to learn how to be a YouTube star. You know what I'm saying? Like TikTok. Everybody can't get on TikTok and dance to a song. There's a certain way to do it. And those people who know how to do it, mainly because they're just having fun and they don't know it, which is the reason why they can't reproduce it after something blows up. They can't redo it because they don't know what they did in the first place. So you have to be taught all this stuff. And the record company, they're just, when you're ready, they'll grab you, throw you against the wall. Oh, dang, he's sliding. What's that other kid? Oh, yeah, give me him. Oh, dang, he's sliding too. Ah, shoot. Oh, he's dope. He's sticking. Okay, great. They make all the money off of that they lost from the other two. They make off that one. That's all they got to do now. They don't have to do anything. They just hire people to watch social media and find the one who has the most followers who's creative. I don't think I meant to go in all to that.
No, we needed that. We needed that. People were going crazy, and I'm like, breaking it down.
I didn't know if I went off subject.
No, it's all good. Okay, so when you are evaluating talent as Troy Taylor, and you know that you're coming in seeing somebody who's not necessarily who might still need some artist development, but there is something about them. What is that thing? What types of things would make an artist stand out to a Troy Taylor on first experience with him?
Well, let me retort a question to you. What's a star? To you, what's a star? There's no wrong answer. What's everybody has an idea. I just want to know, what is a star?
I think a star just has a quality about them that makes you want to continue to invest your time in them, whatever that is. If that's watching them, if that's listening to them, there's something about them. Because
let me cut you off and put it real simple for you, what you just said. A star to me is somebody who wants to be them. Period. If people want to be you, dress like you, sing like you, walk like you, wear their clothes like you, you're a star. You're just doing you. They go, yo, you know what? I bought those same sneakers, yo. But the way you wear them, it's like dope. So when they go home and they the next day and they think about their outfit, they're leaving with the thought of that person in their head. That person is a potential star. It had the ability to change whatever you were doing or thinking and want to do it like that person. That's a star. So do you have the ability to make people want to stop what they're doing to do it like you? And if you don't have that ability to do that, either you're going to learn it or you're just going to figure it out sooner or later by just being yourself. And if you don't master yourself, then you can't offer anybody anything new because you're too busy following everybody else. So I look for the person that knows who they are, even when they don't know. Because I'm surrounded by one particular artist. I call him 100%er. You know, 100%er is one that can write the song, sing the song, record it, everything, produce it themselves, everything. You're 100%er. Like, you can produce the record, write the record, sing it, and all that. But he doesn't know who he is yet. So the talent is bigger than him.
Okay.
As opposed to all this dopeness, sex appeal, know how to take pictures, get their angles right, get their filters right, and their music sucks. You know what I mean? You press play and it's like, you look at them and you listen and you look at them and you listen and you look at them and it don't match. You got to be able to match. Can't just be dope because you know how to be a dope person, but a personality, but then your music doesn't match who you are. So I someone who's who's the closest of knowing who they are, and even within them not knowing, I see it. Because then I base that off of how I guide them.
in the guiding process, Troy, when you're guiding,
You know where the front door is. Mm-hmm.
when you're guiding an artist, how do you deal then with when you're able to see and they might not be able to see yet what their full potential can be? How are you able to navigate situations where there might be a little bit of resistance from that artist? I want to know.
Well, Cameron. Is it Cameron or Cameron?
Cameron.
Cameron. Well, Cameron, here at TTU, I have a thing. At the very beginning stages of TTU is one simple process. That one simple process is called listen and do. The end. I don't care if you don't know. I don't care if you don't get it. I don't care if you don't understand. If I say do it, you do it. What is that? Right to this track. I don't like this track. See, you're not listening and doing. Sing that. Oh, you wrote a song to it? The song's cool. Make another one. To the same track? Yes. Listen and do. I don't need questions. Why? You don't like that? Yo, listen to it again. See, you're not listening and doing. Listen and do. Listen and do. Yo, you understand how simple that is, yet is very hard. You got people that don't know anything, but when I tell them to do something, they come back with all this stuff as if they know what they're talking about. But the funny thing is, I know what I'm talking about. You don't, but yet you're asked. Well, in order to be effective and do what you ask me to do, I need to understand why I'm doing it. No, you don't. You need to do what I tell you to do, period. Because I'm testing you to see how effective you're going to be in a situation to where I don't have time to explain it to you. I need you to just listen and do. Now, as this process goes, the one that is really, really sharp and focused on me and focused and just, then I don't even, Troy said to do it, I'm just going to do it because he wouldn't have me do anything that's going to be detrimental to my career or have me looking crazy or sounding crazy. So I'm just going to do it. That was Trey Songz. Not one question, not why. When I told the kid to do something, he just did it. No matter how long he spent on the song, if I said the song's cool, do another one, he just did it. Never said a word. Jonte Austin. Jonte usually his first song was cool. It was nice. But I'd be like, doing his second one to this day. His second one was always on point. Now, of course, two-time Grammy Award-winning multi number one. Troy is still the big bro that will say, one more time. That's one. I know you're going to get it next time. And he would just do it. Now, to this day, never questioned it. Not the fact that he's two-time Grammy Award-winning big bro say to do it. I'm doing it because he knows something that I don't know. He's hearing, I trust him. That builds up the trust. In order for me to be able to guide you, you got to trust me. I mean blind trust. I mean trust to where it doesn't make no sense, but you trust me enough, you're just going to do it. And that listen and do is supposed to build up that trust factor, even when you don't understand. And when I see that you are able to follow that, then I ask you your opinion. Then I ask you what you think. Because now it's your chance to give me what you think. Will you? My ears are just dumb sensitive. Like, it's like noise. Like, you ever be in the movies and somebody's like, you watching the movies and they're crinkling paper? Oh, that like, that's like, so when I'm locked in and somebody like, that's just, I'm sorry. I'm all good. I'm very persnickety. So that's how I usually do it. If I believe in you enough to have you around, just to have you around, not even have you do anything. I'm trusting that you will know how to be observative and observative Is that the word? Observant. 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 And you pick up things that you feel you could add to yourself, because I'm placing you in an environment to learn.
Yes.
I may not teach you right away. I may not even pay any attention to you. I may not even listen to your music while you're doing it. But if you're here, I'm watching you. And if I'm watching you, that means you have something to be here. But if you get restless, if you keep your eyes on somebody else, or you always go down there and listen to their songs, you never listen to mine. See, now you're messing up. Messing up because you're not trusting me. You're looking at other situations and letting it alter how you move and how you think, to the point where you're not trusting me anymore. So if I see that, it's like, you know what? You're not getting this. You're here. If you're here, that says everything, because there are so many people who want to know just the smallest things. The smallest things now are everything. And there's nobody like, I'm not gonna say there's nobody, because that's not true. There's a lot of people out there that are like myself, who are developers, but good luck in finding them.
Yeah.
Because they're not putting themselves out there to be found. You have to, oh, you work with such? Oh man, that's my favorite artist. Oh my God, yo, could you work with me? You know what I mean? Like, they're not just like, hey, I do have development, and yeah, I have a system where I run. No, they're not doing that, because artist developers are funny. They're really particular people, and they don't want just anybody. I was blessed with a gift, and that gift is being able to see something in something that is not, like, I've worked with people that be like, I don't get it. Trey Songz, people, back then, he, bags, pants sagging, big clothes. He wore my clothes because he wanted to wear baggy clothes, but 8 straight back, look like a rapper. I'm like, Troy. Now I'm Troy Taylor, the vocal producer. Ooh. And they're like, oh, he rap. Yeah, he actually does rap, yeah. But he's an R&B artist. Word? Oh, word? Okay. But when we press play, if I played you the record 17 and 18-year-old Trey, you'd be like, that's him? Yeah. And they couldn't see it. But what he is now is what I saw then. And I can't explain it to you. I just see it. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna take time, but it's hard to find somebody who's gonna actually take the time to really nurture your talent. It's real hard.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. So when it comes to developing writers or producers, how do you know what it is they need or that they don't have, or you get what I'm saying? How do you know what part of their game is good and what needs to be worked on?
Man, the hardest writers to develop are the ones that can really sing. And with the dope ones, like, every type of run you could think of, like harmonies galore, can harmonize off of anything. Those are the hardest ones, because they tend to get lost inside their creativity. And it's like, yo, do you understand that this song you write is not for you? I mean, yeah, but I want it to sound dope. For who? Whose perspective of dope? Because everybody's not going to be able to do that run, right? You're going to intimidate people, and they're not going to be able to do that run that you like. And here you are playing it in a meeting, and they're loving it, but the artist is like sinking slowly because they know they can't sing like that. And it's like, now you done lost the placement because you're not thinking. It's not for you. I put it to you like this. If you owned a restaurant and you're a chef and you cooking is your thing, you make a special steak. Here in this restaurant, you make a special steak, and it's a special sauce on your steak that you're very proud of. However, you step out at a restaurant to look and observe the customers. You go around, excuse me, are you enjoying your meal? Yes, yes, yes. I see you got the steak. Yes. But this person has A1 sauce next to their plate that they brought with them because they carry their A1 sauce. They like A1 sauce with their steak. If you do this, I'm going to give you two scenarios. If you do this, you have you tasted the steak? Oh, no, no, I haven't yet, but I like, you don't put A1 sauce on my steak. But that's not, yeah, but I like, that, you're ruining the flavor. Look at my approach. You're ruining I make my steak a certain type of way so that you don't need A1 sauce. Well, sorry, this is what I do. That person's gonna feel a type of way, leave that restaurant and go tell everybody else what happened. You may mess up because it ain't about you. You made the steak, you serve it, they do what they want. Now, here's the other one. Oh, I see you brought your A1 sauce. Okay, listen, I know everybody likes their steaks a certain type of way, but I want to challenge you. I want you to take one bite, just one piece, one bite, and tell me what you think. And they take a piece and they bite it and they really think it's very juicy and flavorful. Yes, yeah. Do you like it? Yeah. So I'm still gonna use my A1 sauce. Okay, but now you know. Now that customer is gonna leave, and the customer is not gonna describe the steak with the A1 sauce on it. They're gonna describe the steak as, no, that steak is really, really good. It's very juicy, right? Makes people want to come back. Same thing with a song. You're a producer, you produce the song, you put all your things in it, your chords, your favorite chords in there, and you put all your yo, that needs it. Blah, 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 blah. And they like, yo, it's just too much, man. You don't hear that? Then you tripping. Or you're singing, and singing is just like, all the notes and stuff, and I'm like, yo, you don't like that? I mean, no, you sound dope. I mean, you dope. I just can't, man. You know what? They don't need to take the song, man. For real. Like if they can't handle it, who's it for? It ain't even for you. Once it's gone, you're not even playing it no more. So who is it for? What are you doing the music for? You doing it for yourself? Or are you doing it to be a service to others? And to give it to them the way that they want it. Because you are to be a service to others. It's not about how you like it. It's how they like it, because you want them to play it over and over and over and over again. So you have to look at, okay, here's what music is doing today. I don't particularly like it per se, but I need to get in the game. So let me study what the kids are listening to. Let me do it and then sprinkle a little my flavor in there, just a little bit. Let me bring them into my world. Now let me play my experimental tracks that I really like to do. Because now they like this. Yo, what's that? Oh, now something, you got to downplay it. This is something I was experimenting when I was, just messing around with. That's, not your thing. No, play it. Yo, man, that was crazy. Yo, I need that.
Boom.
But if you're not open to doing what's out or their way that you don't like, you're not gonna then, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's like church. You cannot preach to anyone if they don't think that you could relate to them. If you're so holy, you can't tell them anything because they're not trying to hear you. You don't know what it's like to be addicted to this because you ain't never been addicted to it. You have to start your sentence off, Some years ago, I was addicted to that. Really? You? Yeah. How did you get out of it? What did you do? Now you got them, but nobody wants to be vulnerable enough to tell them that they were addicted because they think they're going to be judged. So who's it about? You being judged or about the person you're trying to get? So it's the same thing. So I approach music producers and writers that way to learn how to be a service to the people because it's not about you. I'm speed talking today.
No, it's all good. I mean, you dropping bombs. You dropping bombs. It's all good. Okay. Very few people can say they've worked with some of the most celebrated voices when it comes to R&B music. And I want to know, it's kind of a twofold question. When you've worked with artists like Aretha Franklin and Whitney Houston, Kenny Lattimore, you know, people with voices, and they also have a legacy of their own, let's say, and they're bringing an already established audience, let's say, but they want to also attract a new audience. Is it the same philosophy kind of that you were talking about when you want to kind of, you get what I'm saying? Like working with an Aretha, you know what I mean? I read an interview, an excerpt of an interview where you talked about working with her. But I wanted to know kind of like for Whitney and some of these other artists that are coming into the door with an established, I guess, presence that they're trying to maintain, but they also want to still continue to expand on that. What's the approach that you've taken?
Well, the approach with Aretha or Whitney or Patti LaBelle or Ron Isley, there is no such thing as them trying to do something different to adapt to, because everyone expects them to be who they are. If they tamper with trying to sound anything differently than what people want from them, people are going to get pissed and take it personal. Like, yo, you Aretha better not be sounding like nobody else but Aretha. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
We don't want Whitney to sound like Coco. We want Whitney to sound like Whitney. And we don't want Coco to sound like Whitney. You know what I mean? And so my thing is I focus more so on who they are and try to, for example, remember Luther's Excuse Me, Miss? See, that was a new age type of record with Luther, but the way it was written, his whole cadence was totally outside of how he sings and everything. But the song was so cool that it made him cool.
Got you.
And so if you find that song that straddles that line, that fine line to who they are, but still cater to the way their cadence moves, you can kind of do it, but you cannot alienate who they are.
Okay. Super dope. Super dope. Break it down for those watching, the difference between a producer and an executive producer.
Well, that's easy. An executive producer goes against the producer. I mean, yeah, you know, executive producer is to get all the elements that puts the project together or makes the song or the project, whatever. Producer makes sure they produces what the executive has them there for.
So when you're coming from the standpoint and you're now into the executive producing phase, but you have a wealth of experience as a producer, is it easy to be hands off when it comes to letting the producers do what they do, or is it kind of something that would tempt an executive producer with that type of background?
I believe in trying to let the producer do their thing.
Okay.
And trusting them. But if I hear elements that are not going in the direction of what we need to do and they can't seem to get it right, then I'll do it. You know what I mean? I'm hearing it. It's not fair for them to like try to pick my, you know, try to hear what I'm hearing and they can't. So usually I'll do it, and then you see what I'm talking about? Yeah, I get it now. And then they're off.
Gotcha.
And again, sometimes it doesn't even matter how dope you are as a producer. If there's a sound that the executive is hearing, you know what I mean? Like, he has to figure out how to get it out for you to understand it. If he doesn't know how to do it, he or she doesn't know how to do it himself.
Gotcha.
Because I can sing it and I can play it. I can give you a direction, and then I can leave the room.
Gotcha. Okay. Does the youth dictate the trend when it comes to R&B music? If not, what does, or what How does the trend happen, if you will?
The youth dictates they dictate the trend for sure, because the grown-ups even latch on to what they're doing. What's that little dance you doing? What's that big little dance you be doing? My daughter, I tell you, my daughter be doing this little dance. All the kids is doing it, but the grown-ups go in their room and they try it. And any grown-up that's on listening to me now, stop lying. You know you tried. All the parents try what they try to dance that their kids is doing secretly. But the trend, you said trend. What lasts is not usually determined by the kids. They're so scatterbrained, so they're not thinking about next week. They only think about that moment they're in. So I don't say they dictate what is going to be.
Okay.
They dictate what it is for that moment.
Got you. Good distinction. I want to ask you about 2020 riots.
Mm-hmm.
How many times? I thought that it was very poignant to have someone with a stature like Trey release a song like that. I feel like it makes a statement, you know, beyond just for him, but for artists who have a platform and who may be teetering on whether or not they want to use that platform to say how they really feel or speak up on an issue. Do you feel like that's going to be more commonplace moving forward?
First of all, no, it can't come from just anybody, because some people they can't take seriously. But I'm gonna say this, it's hilarious, by the way, and I joke around with Trey about this. Who's the one person that was technically supposed to come up with a song? Come on, man. Come on, man. It's okay.
In this situation?
Yes. There's one person that was supposed to be here to come up with that song. One person.
Nipsey?
No.
Prince?
It's a shame. It's a shame that you're not saying his name, because he's so he unfortunately took himself so out of the game.
Yeah.
That we don't even think about him no more.
Wow. I'm gonna feel bad. I'm gonna be like, yeah. Go ahead, break it down for me.
R. Kelly.
Oh.
I Believe I Can Fly, man. R. Kelly had the ability to morph into anything that we needed musically. Think about that. We need a party record, he does a party record. We needed a ballad, he does a ballad. He does a sex ballad. We need a hopeful song for the people. R. Kelly was supposed to be the one. And he's not here because he canceled himself out.
Woo.
So, remember the movie Juice?
Yeah.
Remember Pac fell off the building? And Margaret Epps turned around and the kid looked at him and said, "You got the juice now."
Yep.
So I tell Trey, I joke with Trey all the time. I go, "Hey man, Kel's done messed up. You got the juice now."
Yeah.
Looks like he won.
Wow.
Trey trying to sound like Kels. No, Trey loved Kels. He of course, that was somebody he looked up to musically. And I always told Trey when he was younger, like, dude, don't worry about it. Of course he didn't care, but one day they're gonna be saying you're you. And sure enough, they tease Trey and come on and all these things, but that's Trey. That's not Kels. You know, Trey had this thing about his voice that separated him from Kels. Now, Kels is an amazing singer, period. He is the Kels. He's dethroned now. So Kels was the king of R&B. Kels is the epitome of R&B music, period. But now that he canceled himself out with his arrogance, because that's exactly what got him where he is. His arrogance to think that he's untouchable and he can do anything he wants to. Anything that's done in the dark will be brought to the light, and his light is shining now. So he canceled himself out. We just watched him cancel himself out. He didn't get corny. He didn't go bad. You know what I mean? He didn't phase out. He canceled himself out. So he left it open. He left it open. And for Trey, all Trey has to do now is just great music. Just great music. Just like hit you here. And he was already in the emotional state, which is, if you listen to the song, his voice has that urgency in it. It's not fake. What you're feeling is actually real. And that's why it's moving people a certain type of way, because he put what you want to feel, what he wants you to feel, in his voice. Again, that's artist development. He was developed. If you want people to move a certain type of way, move them.
Oh.
You want them to buy it and play it over and over, give them a reason in your tone to want to hear it over and over again.
Yikes. Okay, so I maybe only have like 15 minutes worth more questions to ask you, and I don't want Instagram to cut me off. Can we do a time and get right back on?
Only for you, technically.
Man, hey, listen, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You dropping gems, so I hope people have been watching, because this is the type of stuff you don't get. You just don't get, and I know that.
Like, you got to tell this stuff to people.
Yeah, got to. Very important. So I'm gonna just upload this. I'm gonna log right back in, and we can just finish on out. I appreciate you.
Okay.
All right, now. Cool. All right. I'm gonna try to throw you a curveball.
Okay.
See. Soundtracks.
Uh-huh.
You've been a part of soundtracks. When I was really deciding that I wanted to be in the music game, I used to look forward to soundtracks coming out, because I would hear an element, maybe from think about like a Maxwell's Fortunate on the Life soundtrack or something like that. R. Kelly. But what's happened to soundtracks? Like, what's up with that in your opinion? Is there room for the soundtrack game to come back? Or
let me be a scatterbrain, throw you off for a second on that one. What happened to kids singing in church? They don't do that no more. A whole generation, they don't sing in church like they used to. They don't even, the cadence don't even have anything to do with gospel anymore, because they don't go to church. Choir like they used to. They don't lead songs. The whole generation don't go to church.
Yeah. Oof.
Okay. Getting back to your question. Soundtracks. I don't think anybody has the creativity and time to come up with that stuff, because me and Jonte did the Star music, the music for Star.
Okay.
And that was my opportunity to do that. Make soundtrack songs. You know what I mean? But I don't even think people either the budget doesn't allow it, or people just don't have that creative space to think about it that way. Because it'd be the dopest thing about a movie, the soundtrack. It's gonna come back though. I promise you, all this stuff is gonna come back. All the things that we love, all the R&B, and remember back in the day. How old are you? Not older than me. Not older than me. I don't know why you hesitate. Like, back in my day, I have to say that. Back in my time, we look forward to hearing that soundtrack. We look forward to hearing the music and what they picked, and also we look forward to who's going to produce it, who's going to sing on it. When Babyface did that Waiting to Exhale, like how he made the songs in it, that was so dope. Like, and explain, came up with the songs and everything. Like, I can do that. Like, I can literally do that myself personally. But the opportunities of doing that, I never had one. So I don't know. I don't think people. I think it's a budget thing. We don't have a budget for that. You know, artists gonna want to be paid and woo and da 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 da. So I think it's really a budget thing.
Got you. I break down for the listeners the Mayor of R&B campaign and how, if in any way, the campaign has let's say, I want to talk about it in the time, based on the time period that we're in right now, because the shift is happening. So how is the campaign as it relates to the shift? I know it was already in existence, but speaking right now in present day.
The whole Mayor of R&B campaign is still effective because I'm inserting myself into today's music. And when I say inserting myself, my experiences, my knowledge, I'm taking what's out now and I'm inserting myself into it to give them a little bit more arrangements, maybe a bridge, so they hear where it could go and then come back. Vocal wise, some harmonies, some arrangements that they can't think of because they don't think that way, to open their brain up to hear it. But sometimes people don't know that they know how to do it because they just got to hear it. Days songs that usually has 2 progressions, 2 chords, no turnaround at all, and it's the same thing throughout the whole song for 2.5 minutes. Throw a dope chord in there at the 7th bar, turn around at the 8th. Woo! Yo, that's crazy. Go back to your 1 2 1 2 1 2 chords, or give them some arrangements and the harmonies in that 2nd verse to complement the lead. Even just little stuff, just real little stuff. That's what the Mayor of R&B is doing. The Mayor of R&B is inserting himself into today's sound of R&B and giving another perspective to today's music.
Nice. Has it been easily received by some of the artists like a Jacquees or a YK Osiris or?
Yeah, because they still listen to 90s music.
Okay.
Era, and I'm not trying to make them all 90s. I'm just trying to sprinkle 90s in their music so that they feel like, yeah, man, yo, that sounds like 112. Oh, yo, they just do that. Like, oh, yo, you know what I mean? Like, just enough to make them feel like it's authentic, but not to change them.
Got you. Let me ask some song-specific questions. Sweet Lady.
What about it?
I would like to know. I mean, obviously, you spoke about Jonte in the last part. What at what point of development was that for Jonte, and how did that come about? Was that a second run, second go around, like we talked about before?
But Jonte was only 17, so Sweet Lady was 1.5 years old and it wasn't finished. Jonte had gotten dropped when he was 15, and they came in and brought in their kids that was around the same age as Jonte, and then they came to me because Jonte was signed to RCA. So when they dropped him, they came to me for their new artist, their young kid artist, which was Tyrese. And so I had to take the meeting because I had a studio on 23rd Street in New York. That's expensive. 10th floor. And so you gotta pay the bills. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. I didn't want to work with him because it was like, yo, you dropped my man, you dropped my brother. You can't, I'm not working with him. Like, what? You dropped my brother? Or like, what? But you got bills to pay. So when I played some songs just like that I was going through stuff, and the A&R, Anthony Morgan at the time, heard me bypass one particular song that only had a track and a hook. He's like, what's that? And I was like, oh, no, that's not finished. He's like, let me hear it. And so I played it for him, and it was the track and, the hook. And so He was like, I want that. Finish that. So when he left, I sat there for a little bit, and then it hit me. I hit Jonte, and I was like, because I was in New York and he was out here in Atlanta. I said to him, if you're smart, you'll do it. If you're not smart, you won't. That's the first thing I said to him. He was like, what do you mean? Well, if you want to know how to get your replacement back, blow them up. Huh? What are you talking about? I just had a meeting, and they picked a song, but it doesn't have verses. So I want you to give me some verses. And I want the verses to be a conversation. I don't want it to be a lot of words. I want it to be a conversation, literally. And I told Jonte at that time, because Jonte had already, by that point, had did the Leah records. He was already in his stride. So I knew his cadence. So it was very close to Kel's at that time. So I didn't want a lot of words. So I instructed him to say, I want it to be a conversation. So this is on the phone. Wow. So I played the song for him on the speaker. And Jonte had an impeccable memory. He still does. And now his son has that same memory. He can hear something once, even in the movie, and hear a line once and recite the line 2 hours later. Like, what? The whole time. So Jonte called me once with a melody, with a verse, lyrics. And it was too much. I'm like, no, man, it's too much. It's too much. I don't want it to sound like a song. So, hung up. He called me again. Whole new idea, whole new melody. Say, nope, it's too much. Hung up. I went to go get something to eat. Came back. Now, we don't have cell phones. So it's not like, we had cell phones at the time. It's like I had to literally call him on the phone. This is the 90s. This is the, 97 to be exact. And so he did it. He sang it to me over the phone. And I was like, that's it. Now, I said I wanted it to be a conversation, to where I can have a conversation with those lyrics and you not even know that I'm singing a song. For example, now any other day, I would play it cool. But I can't now, because I want you. See, I'm hooked up on how you flex your style, and I want to talk for a little while. I ain't never really seen your type, but I must admit that I kind of like. So maybe if you have time, we could talk about you being my sweet lady. Now, that's the whole words, not adding, not taking away. The exact words in a conversation, period. I did not add an and, I didn't add a but. I said the exact words. That's what I wanted, a conversation. And if you could do that, and so he did it. I sang it. I sang the demo and left the bridge open because I knew Tyrese didn't want to do the song. So I figured if he writes the bridge and nope, he left me in the studio by myself. And so I got bored and did the bridge.
Wow.
And then all the backgrounds too.
Yo, the conversation comes back to that. Man, I hope people are listening to that joint. Oh, man. Well, I wanted to ask you about My Truck.
Okay.
From a genre standpoint, we're into this. The genre bending thing is now becoming even more accepted, I think, in let's say popular, in a popular way. It's not a new thing per se, but it's being more accepted in a popular way. And I like the way, because I listened to some of the other records as well, blending the genres.
Mm-hmm.
Is there room? Are we in the Wild West, Troy? Are we able to just do kind of what we want to do as long as it feels good and sounds good, or do we have to play by some rules right now when it comes to genres?
I think that when you touch on country music, you got to play by the rules because they don't want you here. They're very racist. They don't want just anybody in their music. You know what I mean? When Taylor Swift stopped singing country music and went pop, they almost they really disowned her. Like seriously.
Wow.
They did not like, I remember that. They did not like Taylor Swift doing this pop music because she started off as a country artist.
Facts.
And Katy Perry the same. Like they were country first. And they transferred, you know, but they got offended. People got offended about that. My truck was supposed to be a fun record, just to have fun and just like really just like play around and really just connect with country people. Really. Now, oddly enough, they had already been trying to do it for a long time. They have in Nashville, they've been trying to find the right chemistry, the right elements to do it. And they just do it. So for us, it's so natural. We're very oops type, you know, people. Ooh, dang, it's dope. Ooh, we did a turn and we did a woo. Yo, that was dope. Yo, do that again. We're oops type of generation or type of people. As Black people, we're very creative, and so our oops are usually trends. Our oops are usually #1 hits. Our oops are really like trend-setting situations, you know. So I think that's what my truck was. It was something that we were just, you know, like having fun. Breland just had fun with it, with the writers that, you know, he was in this very room, and we didn't tend it to be on, you know, what it ended up being. Like we really didn't. Like when Breland came upstairs to me after like a few weeks, and he was like, "Yo, look," I was like, "Yeah, they just started doing videos on their own." You serious? Like, yeah. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So I told him to do 5 more. So, you know, it wouldn't be this just that one. And those other records are amazing. You haven't heard them. No, you haven't heard them. He didn't put them out.
Oh, wow.
They're super dope. Like, but yeah, I think as long as you are not intimidating with it, people are open to it, but they don't want to feel like you're coming in their music and trying to change things. So you have to make it fun, make them enjoy it, and then they'll become a part of it. But most part, for my truck, look, let me tell you something. Don't mess with nobody's truck. Seriously, people who have trucks, they serious about their truck. So that song has a type of authenticity of it. Like there's something in there that's real, even within having fun and just oops. And that is, don't touch people's trucks. Like people are very sensitive about their truck. You don't lean up against it. You know, don't put your fingertips on. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
That's what resonated with the people too.
Dope. I've been I like to monitor the comments because I like to see where people's heads are at, and there are a lot of people who have mentioned in some way or another about being able to try and let's say get critiqued by you or submit music to you or anything like that. I know that's not always the case, but I did want to do some of the people that have been watching and commenting like that, the service of asking formally, how does someone go about getting their music heard by Troy Taylor or submitting anything to you?
Well, I do meet people, a lot of artists that are around me from my DM actually.
Nice.
So okay. Let me let y'all in on a little secret. Don't hit people up like me in your DM and your page is private. I'm not looking at it. I'm not accepting it. I'm not doing it because your page is your portfolio. Your page is it's who you are. It says everything you post on your page is a part of who you are. So I'm going to go, before I respond to you, I'm going to go and look at your page and see who you are, what you do. If you tell me, can you listen to my music? And I go to your page and you're just doing a bunch of funny stuff, or you're modeling, or you ain't got nothing at all, I'm not listening to your music. That's not who you are. And if it is who you are, you're not posting it. I need to see it before I accept or respond to you. So I respond to people that I connect with when I go to their page and they say, can you listen to my music? And I listen and I go to their page and I see something. I have to see something. I can't do it just to be doing it because it's not authentic to me. So I do check people out. And some people, I may not respond right away, but I'll save their message. So it's kind of like you just, but people hit me up, their page is private. People hit me up, they ain't got nothing posted on what they say they want to do. It's like, what is this? Like, so yeah, you can hit me up. I do go through my DMs and I take chances.
Would you recommend them also being clear about what it is that they do? Remember how we were talking about in the last part, you were saying, they're just saying they sing, but they don't necessarily know in what arena that fell into, in terms of what they were trying to pursue. Do they have to have that part figured out as well?
Even if they don't have it figured out, they still, before you have it figured out, you're supposed to have fun. You don't know the political way of going about doing stuff. You just do what you know and you have fun. If that's on your page, that to me says everything. Because if this is what you do and you don't know, dang, imagine if I tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta still do what you do, even though you don't know. That tells me you're having fun regardless to whether you know or not. Now you're teachable.
Wow. I'm going to, man, I appreciate your time. I was on a panel with you over at Morehouse some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, you've always supported. I remember I was doing something over in Atlanta at Music Room. You came through, so I always appreciate you from a support standpoint. So I appreciate your time. I did want to give the floor to you just to be able, and I guess I'll leave it with this: 30 years again. That's not a feat that's easily accomplished in this music industry. Some people can just say they started and they haven't necessarily stopped, but to be able to be actively a part of, the fabric of the music industry over the course of 3 decades is not an easy feat. So I wanted to, in short, ask you, some words of wisdom when it comes to how to be able to get into this and have a career and have some type of longevity, and just address all the people that have been tuning in before we check out of here.
Well, I want to just say this. The taboo thing to say, because I'm me and I'm going to do that, is it's not for everybody. I don't care how dope you are. I don't care how dope you could play. I don't care how dope you could sing. It's not for everybody, because it's not just about the music. If you're a dope singer, but you're mentally not stable, it ain't for you, because she will rip you apart. You and your little talent, you and your ability to be able to sing and your dopeness, this industry will rip you apart, mangle you, dangle you, throw you away, will not look back to check on you. And if you are not mentally stable to deal with it, it ain't for you. Yeah, your gifts and talents. Yes, God gives us gifts and talents, mainly the praise and worship. But we don't do that. We do what we hear in our heads and what we aspire to do. And he will get his glory out of you one way or another. It may not be what you said you wanted to do, but he'll let you run yourself out until you come to his terms. So what do you do? I suggest, if you know you're talented and you can sing or you can play, I suggest you go right back to the source and ask God, why did he give you the gifts? What purpose? Now, usually when I say this, people always think, I don't want to do gospel music. I never said that. Never said that. Number one. Number two, everybody God used in the Bible were the most ratchetest, niggery, wackest, weirdest people, period. He did not use holy scholar, anything. Moses had just killed one of the guards that was messing with the Hebrew. He had just murdered somebody. Moses, who God used to get his people out of Egypt. Moses, yeah, who stuttered. He had a stuttering problem. Like, he felt like, you gotta be kidding me. You know I stutter. How you gonna choose me? And you know, God, you trying to be funny. You trying to be funny. You trying to be funny because you know, no. You trying to be funny because you know I stutter. How these people gonna listen to me and I stutter? No, you the very one I want. So no matter how crazy you are, no how weird people think you are, or how nah, God knows why he created you and what he knows why he gave you the gifts. It's only fair to ask him. Who knows? He might allow you to be in the music industry and do R&B music to get you popular enough to be able to use you for what he has for you. Because remember what I said, people don't like listening to who they don't feel they can relate to. So if you need to get a little dirty out there in a little R&B, your little sex music, you know, your little abs and your little chest out, and you know, get the little girls and all that stuff and your tattoos and all that, you need to do all of that for him to use you in 10 years that you don't know. He'll allow it. He will allow it. Because he will get the glory out of your life, regardless. So why don't you make it easy and just ask him and just be honest? He knows you anyway, but he wants the fruit of your lips. He wants you to say, well, God, God, come on, seriously, I want to be an R&B star for real. No, because you know how like Trey Songz be doing, like, and I dance, God, you know, I dance like Chris Brown. Like, I want to dance like Chris Brown, and I want to do it just like him. God, please. I mean, I don't want to. Come on, man. He's your dad. He is your father. You can talk to God how you would talk to your father. And if you never had a father like me, then you talk to him how you wish you had a father. And you talk to him because all he wants is the relationship. He's not expecting you to be perfect, because perfect, you wouldn't need him. So he don't want you to be perfect. A perfect person doesn't need God because they're perfect. Number one. Number two, a perfect person nobody can relate to. So you ain't being effective because you're perfect. Nobody want to talk to you. People don't like perfect people or perceived to be perfect. Get out of here with that. You ain't never, man, you can't relate. They don't want that person. They want people who are a little dirty, a little flawed, and they can relate. They're going to talk to me. You can listen to Trey. You can listen to him because you feel like man, Trey, remember when he said, just got to make it? Remember? Yeah, man, we watched that dude make it. We literally watched him make it right before our eyes. He got their hearts because they took the journey with him. You know what I mean? And God spared his life. Spared his life to get to this point. To when he does a song called How Many Times, you like, because everybody's like, who's going to do a song? Who's going to do a song? I personally love Jay Script. That dude, did you hear that dude? Jay Script.
Okay. I'm
putting you on. He has a song called Wake Up.
Okay.
And just singing wise, he knew he has a song called Cardio too. He just came out with a song called Cardio, but he has a song called Wake Up that's like for the movement. He's dope. And Lucky Day and Tone Stiff and Kevin Ross. This is going on, you know, like who I like that's out. You didn't ask, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. Daniel Caesar. Let's see who else. Of course, you know who I listen to. Scatterbrain. All right. What do I do when I'm not inspired anymore, or when I'm going through a rut? I go back and listen to the same music I listened to in high school that made me want to do this in the first place. It wins every time. Jammin' Lewis, LA and Face, Teddy Riley, Quincy Jones, Michael Jackson, Prince, Phil Collins, Kenny Loggins, Donald Fagen, Steve Dan, Jeff Lorber, Bob James on the jazz side, then the Commission, then Vanessa Bell Armstrong, the Clark Sisters, and then the Winans. If I go back to that, it brings right back, it puts right back in me why I wanted to do in the first place. The minute I get uninspired, because you know this music can really make you uninspired today. Today's music, you can't hear no chords, you can't even do your runs because the cadence don't go that way, and now you over singing. Ah, dang, I can't. You know, you're singing too much. Like you get uninspired and you can't hear music anymore, so you go right back to what made you want to do this in the first place. That's the easiest thing to inspire you. Woo! Because it was that music that made you want to be either artist, musician, producer, singer, whatever the case. It started when you were listening to certain types of music when you were younger. So that's what I do when I get empty. Getting back to the purpose of God, I really want to emphasize, I really want to reiterate that, I should say. Really, really talk to God and ask him, why did he give you your gift? He will answer you. He will answer you. And the one thing about God is so cool is that he knows our hearts. He'll honor the things that you want to do that may not necessarily be God-ish. He'll honor it. He'll allow it. You have consequences and you have responsibilities. But if he knows that you trust him, he's so cool. God is not like us at all. You know how they're saying now today, black people are too forgiving? What in the world? Too forgiving? Are you serious? God said, I cannot forgive you if you don't forgive others. People don't pay attention to that. That is clear. God will not forgive you if you can't forgive others. And we're too forgiving? No. We're not forgiving enough. We know. No. If you want God said, if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves, and we don't humble ourselves because we're too busy worrying about how forgiving we are. Now we're angry. No. Everything that's happening now is a plan.
Yep.
And I tell to people, as much change as you want, that's how much is going to happen to get it. You want all this go? Oh, you want all that? Well, all this has to happen. So when I look at the times and I'm like, nah, God is up to something. Seriously. A pandemic and then a revolution? You know what? It's almost funny. It's like, God, what's going on? Because he's still in control regardless. Nobody's doing anything that God has not allowed. And now when people say, so you're saying that God is allowing people to get killed? Didn't God allow Moses to cross the Red Sea so he can close the water for them to get killed? Didn't God allow Samson to bring down the walls and all them people got killed? His purpose is going to be served, whether we like it or not. So, you're either part of it or you're not. So, when it comes to this music thing, if you have a gift, you owe it to God. You owe it to God, technically, to go back to him and ask him for the instructions on why he created you. He will tell you, and you will be the best you could ever be because he's the author of whatever you're trying to do. And when anything goes, it's going to last. No man can touch it. Gift without a giver is exactly like a love without a lover. Woo. Honey without the hive is like the sun without a sky. Why you want to study the gift and get all into the gift and not the giver? So yeah, here's a lot to say. Of course, I do interviews all over the world and seminars and stuff like that. And God has given me a platform, even in these 30 years, to at least get a chance to acknowledge him, because Sometimes that's what the platform is for. Are you just going to simply say my name? I give you this mic. If I give you these people, if I give you this audience, be it 5, 40, or 100 or 1,000,000, are you going to say my name? Just say my name. If I can trust you with this fame, with this attention, I will bless you way be. Cameron, I didn't know I was going to be working with Ron Isley. I grew up listening to the Isley Brothers. That's in my heart, my soul. I can listen to Ron Isley right now. I got my own Isley Brother mix that when I get empty, I just listen to that mix. And that mix, I worked with him. Not only did I work with him, I got a single that is kind of like a little, you know, what was it? I just got a brain. Didn't bring the fire in the diamond. I just came here to chill. 2006. That's my record. And I did the track thinking about the Isley Brothers 2 years prior to. I just did an Isley Brother type track. I didn't know would ever get to them. And when it got on him, and he had just had a stroke, so it was like hard working with him to get the addiction out, the words out, because he's little, but he got, you know, so if you go listen to the song, you listen closely, it's a little slurry, but we were able to get it. But the fact that I was able to work with him, Aretha Franklin, the god of vocals, period. The goddess of vocals, period. I'm a Aretha Franklin fan. I didn't know I would work with them. With her, Whitney, I didn't know. But I do have audio of me working with Whitney in 2003 on a Christmas album. And you could hear her cursing me out.
What?
Yeah. Nobody has this in the world because it's mine. You can hear her talking to me, but you can't hear me talking. But yeah, I was pushing her pretty hard, and she was getting pretty mad at me. But
Wow.
I played in my classes and in my seminars sometimes when I go out places. But yeah, so I just want people to I just want to leave with that. There's a lot to leave with, but I just want to leave with that and to know that it's not about you at all. Not about you. No matter how talented you are, it's not about you.
So many gems. I've been seeing people react to what you've been saying. I'm gonna obviously leave this up for people to kind of reprocess some of the things, but I've seen a lot of creatives on here getting a lot of game, getting a lot of knowledge. Me, I've gotten a lot of knowledge. This is the part I love, you know what I'm saying? Because like you were talking about reading the credits, I used to read credits on the CDs all the time, and it's like you don't have that opportunity to kind of put the stories together. And you know, it was like when I first met Angie Stone, I already knew who Angie Stone was because of the D'Angelo Brown Sugar album. So I'm like, yo, you know, and it just makes you appreciate the contribution of everybody involved. So I'm hoping that people were really paying attention. And again, I know I was. Man, I appreciate you taking your time, making the time in your schedule.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. And like I said, I'm gonna put this up there, and I'm gonna be reaching out to you as well. I'm probably gonna do like a torpedo DM or do whatever I got to do. But yeah, I appreciate it. You have inspired me. I know you've inspired everybody out here. So again, to everybody that's out there, this has been Troy Taylor, TTU, like somebody who's been dedicated to making sure that the people coming after him are just as equipped to be in this music industry and have long-lasting careers. And that's not something that everybody is doing.
I really appreciate the opportunity to just spew and, again, use my platform to at least educate a little bit.
For sure. I'll be talking to you soon, my guy.
Yes, sir.
All right. Appreciate you.